Hi guys, Kathleen here. First, I would like to welcome back all of my existing viewers. If you've been a subscriber for a while and a viewer for a while, thank you so much. I think this might be episode 15 if I'm not mistaken, so yay, that's pretty exciting. I am a little embarrassed to go back and look at some of my first videos, but whatever. If you are a new viewer, thank you so much for checking this out and coming by. I'm really glad to have you here and love to see the interaction down in the comments below. So if you enjoy what you're watching here, do me a favor and subscribe, and also click the little bell to make sure you get notifications when I post a video. My goal is always to post them more frequently than I do, but whatever. They're as frequent as I can make them happen, and as I can make them happen more quickly, I try to do so. So this is probably going to be a short episode because I have been very busy this past month. Just came back from a kind of an exciting vacation, and I'm going to try and do the knitting content in the beginning, and then I will do a little kind of follow-up towards the end of what's been going on and why I've been a little absent and why I don't have many acquisitions or finished objects. I really probably should have more finished objects than I do, but I feel like I did pretty good. So let's start off with acquisitions, because I really only have one since the last video. I think if you saw my last video, you saw where I was super excited about ordering my new Untitled yarn. Well, it arrived while I was away on vacation. It came. First of all, I'll tell you, if you're a crinkle fan, you're gonna like this. If you're not a crinkle fan, just turn it down a little bit for a few seconds. Okay. If you like crinkles, there you go. So this is one of 2 bags of the new Untitled yarn that I was so lucky to get. I think it's LJUS. Is it pronounced loose? I'm not really sure. Hi, buddy. We got a little visitor here. Anyway, and hopefully he won't knock the camera. This actually apparently means light. I believe it's either Danish or Swedish. I think it might be Swedish. But this means light. And this is 300 grams. And I am just blown away by how much 300 grams is, because this is very compressed. I got 2 of them. So here's the other one, and I opened it already. And so this is what it looks like. So the plates are not necessarily a certain number of grams. The total number of grams in a bag is 300. And like this bag has 1, 2, there's like one really big plate. I don't want to take it out because I want to just kind of keep it there until I'm ready to use it. One small plate, one really big plate in the bottom. It's like this big. And then this is like a medium-sized plate. So it's 300 grams total in the bag. And what this is, if I can find the end, I don't want to create another end. Where are you, end? I know I saw you here somewhere. I just saw the end on this one. Yeah, use this one. So this is pencil roving. So it's very barely spun yarn is what this is. Fiber, really. And this is what it looks like. So really it's it's almost a cobweb. I mean, it's really thin. And you've seen other people probably do this with their pencil roving, but it literally does. See, like this little fiber. So it comes apart really easily because it's just barely spun to just barely keep those fibers together. And you can, I could join that back in pretty easily, but I'm not going to bother with that. So you typically, what people do is, and also it smells really good. And I don't know if it's the spinning oil in it that makes it smell good, but it almost reminds me of the smell, you know, when your kids get teddy bears and that like that smell of the teddy bear when it's brand new. That's kind of what it smells like. I don't know. But it might be the spinning oil that I'm smelling, because it does not smell sheepy whatsoever. I'm not picking up any sheep smell in this. So I have to think it's the spinning oil, which means when I eventually knit this up into something and then I wet block and it removes the spinning oil, this fiber should really, really bloom. So a lot of people, what they do is, because it's so fragile, they will either knit it holding another fiber with it, like typically, like a silk mohair with it. I'm trying to kind of stay away from the mohair because I don't like those fibers everywhere. They really bug me. It's not that they're itchy, I just don't like how much they shed. So what you can also do is you can just double it. So this is 600 grams, but I feel like I could get one sweater, even if I double it, out of just one bag of this. So, and I haven't done my homework to see exactly how New Tiden knits up as far as like how many grams you need to knit an adult size sweater. The color is kind of, it's a gray. Got some on my lip gloss already. It's a gray, and it has, you can kind of see it in there. It's got like a pink in it. So it's like light, just like it says. So I feel like it's a good color for me, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use this as the main color in something, which I probably will, and then I would love to see if in the next round of New Tiden, maybe I can get like a dark gray or like a non-colored version, like maybe like this color here would be nice to do some kind of color work. Not really sure yet. So don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I was just super excited to get my hands on it. And it is, this is rustic, but this is so soft. There's no way this is going to be scratchy. None at all. So that's my acquisition. By the way, I should mention what I'm wearing, and I'm going to have to put it below because I know the yarn is a Malabrigo and the color is Arco Iris, and it's a bulky weight yarn. I don't remember which yarn it is, and hopefully it's not making noise on my microphone. And the pattern it's a cowl, and I showed it in one of my last episodes. I don't remember, so I'll put it down below, what it is, what the pattern is, and what the yarn is. But I really like it because it kind of goes, because it has so many colors in it, it goes with a lot of things. Anyway, so my one acquisition was the New Tiden, and I'm very excited about it, and I can't wait to figure out what I'm going to do with it and try it. And so then let's move on to finished objects, unfinished objects, and the classes I'll be teaching. So the classes actually are going to kind of get intertwined here because I'll be talking about, actually let's do the classes first. So I am teaching a class in May that is at my local yarn shop, My Sister Knits, and I'm going to be teaching a class on steeking. Now, I am not exactly an expert on steeking at this point. I have done a few projects, but what I'm doing is doing a lot of them to try and, basically give the basics of steeking. I'm kind of a little nervous actually about teaching this because I feel like I should be a little bit more of an expert than I am, but it's not hard. Really, it's not hard. It's just knowing how to knit your project so that you allow for the section for steeking, and then how you prep it in order to cut it. So the cutting part is not hard. So this is, and I think I've shown this in a past episode, this is a coffee cup cozy. It's very large. It really only fits like a large, like a venti size cup, a 20-ounce cup of coffee. I kind of feel like, well, if this is actually a very rustic yarn. This is Brooklyn Tweed, I can't remember if it's Shelter or Loft. It's one of those two. I'll also put that down below. And I could felt it. right? So I could make it smaller by felting it. This is not yet felted. This is a pattern that I found online that's called Steek This Coffee Cozy, and it's on Ravelry. And I believe I can't remember if it was a free pattern or if it was like a nominal fee for it. It wasn't that bad if I paid for it. And you can use up to 5 colors of yarn for your color work. This one only has 4 in it, but you could do 5 colors. It's written, you just adjust the chart so that, and in fact, what I did, and I don't have the other ones here, because I bought, all of these colors of yarn, I've got 4 or 5 colors of yarn. I have 4 colors of yarn. I have made several of these and used different colorways for the base color. So this, where it's like, it looks like black on here, but really it's like a very deep charcoal, heather. It's a heathered yarn. And so what I did was I made one with that really light, it looks like maybe white, but it's really a very light gray. I did one with that as this base color, the main color, and then did different colors for the snowflakes and that stripe that goes through it. And then there's also like a 3rd color in there. Or fourth color, yeah. So there's like a medium gray here, and this is a super light gray, and then this is of course a red. But you can kind of see a little bit the heathered charcoal. This is knit in the round, and these are actually buttons. This is a button band and buttons. So this is what it looks like once you steek it and make it flat. This is what it looks like. And then this is right here is, well, look at those floats, first of all. I mean, they look pretty good. But this is where you cut it right here. And then you kind of make a seam out of it. And then you kind of felt it a little bit so that because you have to use a rustic yarn, and the fibers just kind of want to hold on to each other anyway. But I just, I seamed it and sewed it down. And then I kind of, when I was blocking it, I kind of just like felted it a little bit right there. In fact, I could feel it felting a little bit right now. So it's felted a little bit right there. Those ends are going nowhere. Then you pick up and add the button band on both sides. So it's not a hard project. The hardest part for me was really learning the whole steeking technique. And on my first one, I would say, I think this actually might have been my first one. I can't remember. On my first one, of course, your first time trying a new technique, you're not going to get it right? And I did get it right, but it was, it took a while, and I literally had to use my OttLite and make sure that I was looking straight down when I was prepping it and making sure I was catching the correct loops, the legs of the stitches on either side that you're going to cut. And so I used my OttLite so I could really, really see it, because it is very dark, and you can see you do use a contrasting color for the part you're going to cut so that you can see it more easily. But what I also figured is I have to do that stitch where that I'm going to be cutting. Don't knit it too tight, because if you knit too tight, it's hard to pull the stitches apart to see the center of it to be able to cut it. So after I did this one, and I think I've done 2 or 3 more of them, I made sure that on the column that I knew I was going to be cutting, when I got to that stitch in the round, I did it a little bit looser, just so that it would be easier to see when I pulled it apart to cut it. So that's just a tip I have for that. And so I'll be teaching that class in May, towards the end of May. And on Tuesday nights, I'm going to be doing it on 2 Tuesday nights. I'll put the dates below so you can see. If you're in the local area in Northern Colorado, you can sign up for the class. I don't know how much it is, so I'll put like a link to the class below. So I'm going to teach that class, and then at the end of this month, so the last Tuesday in March and the first Tuesday in April, actually, and then the second Tuesday in April, because I will be teaching it in 3 classes, I will be teaching 2 at a time socks. So this is one of my finished objects. Yay. These are the blockers I use. These are the Bryspun. These are the Bryspun sock blockers, and I like these because they dry super fast, because literally all it is this frame. And so they dry really, really fast on these frames, and they don't rust, you know, they don't change your socks at all. They're really easy to get on and off. But this is just a plain vanilla shorty sock, just like from my head. This is just the size that I know that works for me. This one is 64 stitches, and this is a yarn from Polka Dot Sheep, and the colorway is Marion, and this is in the Tenderfoot base, which is I think might be a 75-25 or 80-20, I can't remember. I'll put a link below to that as well. But this is the Marion colorway, which I really like, and it's actually showing really true to, at least on my screen right now, it's showing really true to how it looks in person. It's a really nice colorway. I really like it. And I did not do contrasting heel and toe on this one. I did or cuff. This is all the same. And I really like it because it goes, in fact, these are the socks I'm going to be putting on my feet in a few minutes. But this is, I like this yarn base. It does knit up, it knits up normally, but when you block them, it does get very soft and loose. So I would say if you typically do a larger, or whatever you typically do for your sock size, you might consider going down a sock size when you knit it and try that. So typically I was doing 72 stitches for mine, and with the Polka Dot Sheep I do the 64, and it works. So these are just from my head. This is just a vanilla shorty sock. And then my other finished object is actually a design I made up myself. And this is a shorty sock I made for my husband. I'm going to try to show it to you so that I'm not giving away the design. Okay, the design is actually on the other side. And this is a shorty sock, obviously, a little bit bigger. He was wearing them yesterday, so they're a little stretched out on my blocker. But this is also a vanilla sock that has just a little bit of a pattern, a stitch pattern going through it that creates a design on the sock. And he loves them. This is Hugh Loco. This one's Hugh Loco Phyllis. I think this is Phyllis sock. I don't remember the colorway. I'll put it below, but it's Hugh Loco Phyllis sock. And I really like Hugh Loco because it wears really well, especially for his socks. It wears really well for him, and it doesn't pill at all, and it doesn't felt. It is superwash, so I can throw them in the washing machine with all the other laundry, but I do put all my socks on blockers to dry. I don't put them in the dryer. I put them in the washer with the rest of the laundry, but I don't put them in the dryer. So these are about to go in the laundry. So this is the sock that I designed. It appears to be plain vanilla. There's a little bit of something on the other side. And I'm working actually, and I'll show you. My UFO, my unfinished object, is actually a pair for myself. And again, I'll show you the side without the design. So, I think I'm showing it right. Yeah. So I'm on the heel of the first one. You can see the heel of the first one. So these are little shorty socks for me. It's the same yarn. It's the same gray Phyllis sock from Hugh Loco. And the nice thing about shorties is I can get, 2. There's plenty here to finish this sock for me. So I just have to do, actually for this one, it's for this sock, and I've already done the heel. So I'll have actually a little nugget, a bit left over, because all I have to do is the foot and the toe. So these were my travel companions for my business trip that I took this week. So I did all this just this week. So I got all this done, like on the airplane and whatever. But I'm going to write that up and put that on Ravelry. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it a paid pattern or not. We'll see once I write it up and see if it seems like something that I might want to try to put out there. I don't know. We'll see. I actually would love to get some test knitters on that. So if you're interested in trying them out, once I get it written, I will let you know and then have you test knit them for me and see how it goes. See if you enjoy the pattern and see what you make of it. So, just a couple shorties. Really, honestly, that's all I have for knitting content. That's it. So, when it comes to things I'm considering making soon, I do have to do all that knitting for the class that I'm teaching. So, I'll be doing a bunch of these coffee cozies in the next couple weeks, just to make sure that I'm really ready for the class. I don't know if I'll put them up on Etsy to sell them, or I'll probably just give them away to friends, whatever. I don't like to typically make things to order. So I'm a process knitter, not a project knitter. I'm a process knitter. So I knit just for the enjoyment of knitting. And I do not like making things for people like that are going to pay me for them. It just takes all the pleasure out of it, and my creativity goes out, is gone because I got to make it to the colors and whatever that they want. I just don't enjoy it. I did just agree to do it recently for a friend, and I kind of felt like I had to. I don't know if any of you out there have situations like that where you feel like just the person and the object it is, like you just feel like you have to do it, but I didn't really want to, but it's a small enough project, it shouldn't be a big deal. My hubs just came down the stairs. There he is. It's always so weird when I'm filming when there's people around. I'm getting more used to it, but it just still feels kind of awkward. Thankfully, they totally understand. So for knitting content coming up, probably, the next podcast may be a little of the same, just because I have to knit up a bunch of those coffee cozies, and the 2 at a time sock class, I usually just bring along for the instruction. I usually just bring along some sample yarn to start a project for them, to show them how to cast on, and then I'll just use my own sock whatever sock I'm working on, just make sure it's at the heel portion when I'm about to teach the heel. So the first session is casting on, getting started on the cuff, getting the cuff done, however long they want to make them, or however long they get them done before the next class, which is the next week. And then, so the second class is the heel, and we do a German short row heel, and heels go pretty quick. So they have a week to get both of their heels done. And they can even, if they get to that point, they can even go down the foot and finish if they want. And then the third class is usually, for the most part, it seems like it's usually like a Q&A. And okay, I did this and now that happened, or how do I avoid this, or what do I do about that, or hey Kathleen, how do I do the toe? Like it's so first class is casting on and cuff, and just understanding the 2 at a time, how it works on the needle, on the circular needle. Second one is how to do the heel, because you do the heels one at a time, but both socks are on the needles. And then the third one is just, the follow-up and finishing the sock, and then any questions. So it usually goes really well. Not everybody is into 2 at a time socks, so it's not like a class that's super full, but it's something that can translate to other tubular knitting, so that you do multiples of. So, and I've said this before, so if you're doing sleeves or mittens or even hats, you could do 2 at a time. Heck, you could do 4 at a time, 6 at a time, 10 at a time, however many you want to do. You could do 10 at a time socks if you're so inclined. You would need a super long cable, but you can totally do that many. You could do 9 at a time, 8 at a time, 7, whatever. You could do however many you want at a time. Just by learning this technique, you learn, let's get real here. If you were doing like 4 at a time, your yarn management would have to be expert level because doing 2 at a time, especially if you were doing multiple colors of yarn like striped socks, which I have done. And I'm not a huge fan actually of striped socks 2 at a time, only because the yarn management is insane. I did the sprocket socks and just trying to keep, and not even like you do a stripe and then you break the yarn because you have enough distance between where you're going to use it again. You're not going to carry it and just kind of keep going with it. You're going to break it, do your next color, break it, do your next color, because there's 5 colors. So, you know, yarn management was really, at that point, I was managing, for the most part, maybe 4 strands, so 2 and 2 at any one time. Because you do, in the sprocket socks, you have a section where it's like what do they call that? Stranded color work? Where you do, no, not stranded, where you do mosaic, because you do slip stitches to make the teeth of the sprockets. That, watch my last episode. I think it was on that one. Anyway, so that's it for the knitting content. If you are only here for the knitting content, I thank you so much. You can tune out now if you want. If you're interested in learning about what the last month has brought for me, then sit tight. I will be sharing some fun videos of what we've been doing. At least it's fun for me. It's sailing. So if you're not interested in sailing, then thanks so much for popping in, and I'll catch you on the next episode. There probably won't be any sailing on the next episode, so thank you so much for popping in, and I'll see you guys soon. If you're sticking around, thank you. We've had kind of a lifelong dream, not lifelong, I shouldn't say that. The last 3 years or so, my husband and I have been spending a lot of time watching live aboard, cruising life, sailing videos on YouTube. And it's pretty much, I don't watch regular TV unless there's a hockey game on. And pretty much I watch YouTube all the time. I do love Ted Lasso. Like, there are some things I watch, but we do watch a lot of YouTube videos. That's like one of the primary things we watch in the evenings. And we watch a lot of, there's a lot of different things we are interested in. And the big one for us lately has been, the last couple of years, has been sailing, and especially on catamarans. We do watch sailing channels that are people with monohulls. So for the uninitiated, a monohull is just a regular sailboat with one hull. Your typical, like you draw when you're a kid, kind of sailboat. And a multi-hull would be a catamaran or a trimaran for the most part. Most people who do cruising, live aboard cruising, live on either a monohull regular sailboat or on a catamaran. A few people do live on the NEEL, N-E-E-L, makes a big enough trimaran you can live on. But for the most part, live aboard folks live on either a monohull sailboat or on a catamaran. Usually a little bit bigger catamaran, like a 42 or bigger. And so we have been thinking about retiring to a catamaran and owning a property somewhere on the East Coast, most likely, for like a home base, and then spending a few years, maybe 3 or 4 years, maybe longer, maybe less, I don't know, living on a catamaran. So what we wanted to do was see if this was something we really would be able to do, just based on our age and the challenges to actually successfully sailing a boat and owning a boat. And so we decided to take some sailing lessons. So they just had the Miami International Boat Show, and we went to that. Much smaller kitchen, like half the size of the 46. This is a better use of space. Ooh. It's so great. Oh my goodness.
Cindy. Technology is not your friend today.
So we went to take a look at the catamarans and see if the things that we had been seeing on the YouTube channels, how that would feel in person. Because, you know, while everything looks great on YouTube, I mean, for the most part, people only show the good things. They don't show the bad. They don't show the challenges. They don't show the hardships of living on a sailboat. They mostly just show the fun, good stuff, because that's what gets you watching. So we wanted to get on these boats and get a feel for what they feel like to actually be on and try and envision living on them. So it did help us solidify what we decided was the boat that we would like to eventually buy. We'll buy most likely it will be a used one. We won't be buying a brand new one. We are interested in a 45-foot sailboat, catamaran, and it just felt the most comfortable to us. I mean, like the stability of the catamaran on the water, it felt comfortable. So the next thing, and I say this because the next thing we did, so we went to the Miami Boat Show. Then we flew from Miami to St. Vincent in the Grenadines, and we went to a sailing school. And we sailed on a 42-foot catamaran, and we both, my husband and I, and two other students, it was a couple of guys, and then the instructor. And it's a week long, and you actually, from the moment you get on that boat and stow your belongings, from that moment on, you are sailing the boat. So the instructor provides the instruction on how to do it and shows you obviously how to do it. This particular instructor was a little, and maybe this is pun intended, but a little salty, a little cranky. I would say not the most customer-friendly experience, but we did learn to sail, so there's that. So we spent a week in the Grenadines, kind of hopping down the islands and around the islands and learning how to sail. And I am now ASA certified to skipper up to a 45-foot catamaran. I had gone into it kind of thinking that perhaps my husband would become certified, and maybe I might not have gotten certified this time, but would have at least learned, quite a bit. But I was very happy to, when I was finished, to have actually gotten certified. So I would be a very capable co-sailor with my husband of our catamaran. And of course, you know, taking a week lesson is not the same as actually living on the boat and living it full time 24/7. So, you know, I almost feel like while you become certified, you actually are just like, here's the very, very basics on how to sail a sailboat, and you're really going to get the real life experience once you actually start doing it. Mind you, there are people who buy catamarans and never go to sailing school and know nothing about sailing and get out there and sail. We're trying to avoid that because that's how mistakes happen. So we're trying to make sure we are as prepared as possible. And then this past week, I was in Las Vegas for a trade convention conference for my industry that I'm in, which is the corporate relocation industry. So I spent a week in Vegas at a relocation industry. It's real estate. Really, it's real estate and relocation. I did win the President's Award for service, which was really nice. Aside from my, you know, day-to-day job, I actually do provide mentorship and teach some sessions. So you get credit when you do those things. And I am a certified relocation professional. So this is my career. And so it's nice when you can get recognition for the time you put in your industry, helping instruct new people in the industry and also provide the education for other sessions as well. So that's where I've been. I can probably tuck in a couple pictures from Vegas in here too towards the end. But thanks for watching, and I will hopefully see you in another 3 to 4 weeks. Take care, guys. Bye.